guys, I hope you're doing really, really well. Hey, I want to tackle a topic that's a little bit broad, but I think that you'll find some value in it. And the topic is, how do you tell somebody how you really feel? This weekend, I was visiting with a young woman. She's in college, and she was telling me that she really has fallen in love with this guy who is kind of her best friend. Like, she hangs out with him a lot, and she is just terrified to tell him. And I totally get it, okay? I get it. I was one of those people when I was young that had a really hard time with how to start the conversation. Like, what does that look like? And I think that girls have a hard time with, like, when a guy is moving too fast and they're uncomfortable, they don't know how to shut it down. I think that's a lot of times why girls end up sleeping with some guys, because they don't know how do I do this? Okay, so I'm gonna break it down for you, okay? I am just gonna be honest with you that it takes a lot of courage, especially if you're gonna tell somebody that you love them and you're wondering, what are they gonna say back, especially if this is your best friend, okay? I realize that we're in this digital age where you could just send a text or, some kind of social media thing, but I think that there is no better way than face-to-face, because a lot of things get missed in translation when you're doing it via text or email or even on the phone, because you can't read that person very well. Most of our communication is nonverbal. So if you're not sitting in front of somebody, you can't really read them very well. So this is my advice for the young woman that I was talking to on that specific situation. If I were her, like, say they're having ice cream together or something, and no one else is around. If I were her, I would start it out with, let's say the guy's name is I don't know, Brad. I would say, hey Brad, I'm really nervous to tell you this, and I just want you to know that you don't have to feel the same way, but I just love you. And I know that we're friends, but I just feel like it's different now, and I just wanted you to know that. And then you just let him talk. Now, if he says, oh my gosh, I don't feel that way about you, you can just say, it's okay. You don't need to make it weird. You need to actually provide damage control, because if it does go that way and the person doesn't feel that way about you, you need to be super calm about it, very chill, and just be like, it's okay. Like, I just wanted you to know. I don't want things to be weird. I just wanted you to know, because we're friends, and it's important to me that you know how I feel. And just leave it at that. You just might be surprised. He might feel the same way, because guys are just so scared. I mean, it's not like it's just a girl thing. But you just need to be able to give them a way out if they don't feel the same way, and make it not weird. Damage control. Okay, now let's use the situation of, let's say a guy is making out with a girl, and the girl's getting really uncomfortable about it. You want to be nice about it, right? Especially if you like this guy, but this is just getting too uncomfortable. So what you could do is, you just put your hand on his chest and just gently push away and just say, I really like you, but I'm just not comfortable with this. I want things to slow down. I need things to go slower. Now, what's really cool about speaking your mind in a situation like that is that you're gonna see what kind of person this is. Now, I'm gonna amp it up a little bit for you. I highly recommend, and I know that this is not popular. I just want to tell you, I realize it's not popular, but I'm not changing my mind, and this is why. I think that you should not be having sex before you get married, for lots of reasons, okay? You have pregnancies, you have STDs, you have that emotional bond that you have with somebody. It is excruciating when you do that and then the person dumps you. It creates, your suicide rates are 4 times higher than if you're not doing those kinds of things. I think that it's really hard on a developing brain to have to deal with such massive adult consequences if something were to happen, and it's really hard on a developing brain even if something doesn't happen. can you deal with what you're practicing for is the question I always ask. If you're having sex and you're practicing to be a parent. Do you want to do that? Are you practicing to have an STD? Do you want to deal with that? So let's say that you have put some thought into some boundaries that you have in dating, which I highly recommend, by the way, because if you do that first, then while it's happening, you're not over there trying to make a decision, you know, because you're like really like this person and you don't know what to say and you're freaking out. And that's usually what happens, is that things go too far because you didn't make a decision before it happened. So one of the best ways that you can figure out what kind of person that you're dealing with, I call it the loser filter, is let's say a guy is interested in dating you and you're a girl, right? And maybe he asks you out, or maybe he's like really flirty and you kind of get this vibe that, you know, that he wants to date you. Have a conversation that, hey, I really like you. I just want you to know that. I really, really like you. I just need you to know that I have made a decision that I am not going to be having sex before I get married. And if you're going to be in a relationship with me, then you're going to have to be okay with that. How do you feel about that? Now, what would be really fantastic is that he agreed, because I understand that most of you think that guys are the ones that are constantly pushing sex, but what is kind of happening in our culture is that women are tricking men, like so they're trying to get pregnant so that they have like a claw in this guy, which is awful, or they're claiming that this guy raped them when they didn't. Not cool. So there are lots of men that have been hurt by really vicious women. So you might find out that this guy is like, oh, hallelujah, I'm so glad you said that. You know, maybe he has really big plans, like he wants to go off to college and, you know, he's got really big plans and he doesn't want to worry about if he got his girlfriend pregnant and if he can, you know, have those plans come to fruition. That would be wonderful if he agreed with you. You can also have a guy who pretends to agree with you and says, that's fine, you know, whatever you want, but he's always pushing the envelope. No matter what you're doing, he's always pushing it farther than you want to go, and you're constantly having to defend your boundaries. You're constantly having to defend and say, gosh, this is going too far. I already told you how I felt about this. Loser has been spotted, okay? Now you know if a guy is not going to respect your boundaries, that you've got to move on. If he won't respect it in this, he's not going to respect it in anything. The other guy that you'll get is the one who will laugh at you, who will kind of mock you about it. He'll be like, what are you, like, prude? Or he'll call you kind of like some names where it shames you into changing your mind. Another loser spotted. Again, you want to walk away. Now, the great thing about broaching this conversation is that when you do it early on, then no feelings are hurt later. You know, sometimes guys get a little mad because they're assuming that it's going to lead into something, and then the girl says, you know, like maybe a few months into the relationship, she's like, you know, I don't want to have sex before I get married. And he's going to be like, excuse me? We never talked about that. I just assumed that we would, and then they're mad. So the sooner that you address how you feel in a relationship, the better. What this does for you is several things. One, it's a life skill you need to learn. It is uncomfortable. Like, I hated it when I was younger. I mean, I dated people that I didn't want to date. I even married one I didn't want to marry because I didn't know what to say. Like, it was awful. It was awful for me. So I really understand. So it is a life skill. I wish I had learned it when I was 20. My life would be so much different. Now, the other thing that it does for you is, you know, we all want to be fully loved. Flaws and all, right? The ugly things about us, we want to be fully loved. Well, you can't be fully loved if you're not fully known, and deep inside you know that. So if you're kind of putting on a front and you're pretending that something doesn't bother you when it does, deep inside you know that this person does not fully love you because they don't know. They don't know how you're thinking, okay? So it gives you the ability to be fully loved, all right? And that other person respects you for it. They might not like it, they might not agree with you, but they at least respect you for it. Your responsibility I want you to look at this as like a track race, okay? So you have a relay race, and there's one person that is running with a baton, right? And they have to pass it on to the baton for the race to continue. I look at relationships a lot like that. When you tell someone how you feel, you are passing the baton. And they now get to decide if this relationship is going to continue. The race is going to continue. If they're going to do something good with the relationship, if they're going to do something good with the baton, AKA your feelings, all right? I always tell my girls, like they'll say to me, well, I'm not going to talk to him because it won't matter anyway. He doesn't care. And I'll always say, it is not up to you to decide if someone is going to care or not. That's not your role. Your role is to tell someone how you feel. You're not responsible for how they behave about it. You just pass the baton. No, it's not up to you anymore, right? The person that doesn't have the baton is not the one running. You get it? So have some inner dialogue with yourself about this. Talk it over with some friends. You know, maybe you have a wise friend or a parent that you could sit down and go, okay, this is my situation. I really want to tell this person how I feel. How do you think I should do that? And then just brainstorm. Always be kind, always be clear, and do damage control so that if it doesn't go well, that you can be really chillaxed about it and make sure that it doesn't get weird. And give them an out. Like they need to have the permission to disagree with you and you know, to do what they need to do. And you need to be able to say, okay, like I respect you and love you enough to, you know, let you be your own person. And you want people to give the same to you. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, you can email me at Teresa@fortheloveofteenagers.com. I know that some people don't like to leave public comments, and I am totally cool with that. So you can just send me an email. Okay? Love you guys. Bye.